Hello and welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, on a warm and sticky Thursday afternoon here in June. I got that wrong in the last video. I've been talking about May 2 hours before I made the video. I had May on the brain, so once I watched the video, I try to be the first one to watch it when it finally gets posted, which lately takes forever. I don't know why. And right off the bat, got a mistake, but hey, just got to let it roll. So, as promised in the video the other day, I'm going to just briefly talk about some small block Chevy parts that I saw in Marketplace Sunday night, late. Apparently I was the first to respond, which is always a good thing. The guy was only in the next town, a few miles away. And shortly after breakfast Monday morning, I had the cylinder heads in the car. And they're Blueprint Engineering. They're the same head that's on my advertised 383 engine in my 55 Chevy, which is actually a 377. I've complained about that before. Just lists of correct cubic inch. They're trying to tie into all the marketing BS. Anyway, so they've obviously been run, and whatever vehicle they were on, it was obviously running very rich. I got to give credit to the E3 spark plugs. Never been a big fan. They got like the triple ground strap there. It was doing its job. The ignition system in those spark plugs were keeping the engine running. The valves have a light brown tint to them, all 8 of them, so the engine was running fine other than really rich. And I don't believe, just guessing, they probably have a lot of miles on them. Most of these engines don't. It's nice and clean inside. So I'll just clean them up and put them back together. They're 195cc intake. It's usually how they measure a small block or most any head. They give you the biggest port volume, and that's the intake at 195. And 64cc combustion chamber, 3/8 studs. They have a valve spring listed for a 0.575 hydraulic roller. I find it interesting when they list the spring as hydraulic roller only, not a solid roller. Has to be the ramp speed, and the spring might be on the light side for longevity. It's pretty common without a lot of explanation. You'd think the spring wouldn't know any better, but my gut feeling is it's on the lighter side, and with a 575 lift solid cam, maybe things happen faster and the spring would overcome too early. It would lose control of the valve. I'm just guessing. Always found it interesting. So I bought the heads. Wicked good deal. A lot of people apparently responded. I was lucky enough to be the first one that answered the ad somewhere in the middle of the night on Monday. And then he had some other stuff. He had a brand new Clay Smith, made in USA, hydraulic roller cam, and I never had a Clay Smith cam. I like the packaging. Even the cam card is laminated. It's good to hang on to. Most all the other cam cards are made handwritten on a piece of paper, and in an oily box. You can imagine how it typically looks. Here's an Urson one I have, and you can see it looks like a crime scene evidence. But anyway, as a retrofit roller, that means it's made for an engine that did not have a roller camshaft. You know, the latest small block Chevys did, and they require a different cam and lifter setup. But the early ones, where you're retrofitting, getting rid of your flat tappets, that's what it means. It is with a 1.5 rocker. This cam's pretty interesting. I did a little Googling of the part number. With a 1.5 rocker, which is all the cam card says, and the cam card does not give you a description of what the cam is intended for. I always like the actual description the cam manufacturer gives you. That should be more readily available, because just reading the specs, nothing really jumps out at you. 0.547 intake lift with a 1.5 rocker at the valve, 529 exhaust. Those are just a pretty warm camshaft, not super huge, but definitely a good street strip cam. Probably make 400 to 500 horsepower with it, no problem. Advertised duration, 296 on the intake, 302 in the exhaust. Usually those are the other way around. Kind of a clue maybe what's happening. I kind of study camshaft specs. I'm a student. I'm not sure anybody completely understands everything. I started watching the camshaft challenge that Eric Weingarten just had, and you never know. Like a box of chocolates, you never know what's going to be on the inside. Lobe center 108, both the intake and exhaust, and the center lines 104, 112 in the exhaust. Again, the exhaust being bigger, which is not the norm most of the time. And they give you all the specs: half the full turn lash down past 0. You need a set of springs, 155 to 165 pounds on the seat. Again, that's good information. A lot of camshaft people don't tell you what the spring should measure. Having recently acquired a spring tester, that's kind of nice. If I have some springs laying around, I could figure out if they would work or not. So that was pretty exciting, and it was definitely on the cheap side. So with the head, it's nice that they're actually a match. This camshaft would work with the springs on this head. It is actually harmonious. But the camshaft itself, then when I went online and read the description, they recommend it for large cubic inch small block Chevys. I'm going to get the camera off in time. If not, I blew the speakers out. Large cubic inch, large carburetor, 850 CFM minimum, it says. Lots of compression, and it says this cam will help in cylinder filling. It must be why the exhaust is larger in most of the dimensions. Probably has a scavenging effect, and so it has more intake pulse or suction, I guess. It'd be suction, not the pulse. Either way, I was surprised to read that. Maybe they need a bigger head, but I'll probably end up putting in a 355 small block, and it'll probably run just fine there too. And what I was not expecting to buy, but again, I couldn't pass it up for the money, was this Holley Strip Dominator intake. Dual plane. I'm not a dual plane guy. I just like the looks of a single plane and the performance. I know probably statistically I give up a little bit of torque below 3,000 to 3,500, but that's okay. However, that's a good looking manifold. It's tall, and unlike most of your dual planes that look a lot like a stock intake, I guess that's why I'm not that attracted to them. That, and you go online to every engine forum, and everybody on there has to have low compression, a dual plane intake, Edelbrock carburetor on the stroker motor. That's all you hear over and over and over again. You can't do anything else. Everything else is off limits. Well, the fun begins when you get rid of all that stuff. But again, one man's opinion. But if you're not familiar, if you happen to be new, from my first car forward, almost everything I had a big block in it for 20-something years. And then I went to the LS stuff. Back before it was even that popular, I LS swapped my Model A. I haven't even finished it yet. If I had finished it and actually drove it, it would have been unique. Now, it's pretty common. And decided one day that I see all the small block parts. They're much, even today, priced affordably compared to big block and LS stuff. LS stuff's still pretty cheap as long as you're buying all the common junk. But the aftermarket small block stuff, if you're picky, it's out there and it's pretty damn reasonable. And then the thrilling end of my video, the super rare, always talked about, much coveted, you've heard it many times mentioned, every car-to-car show, every car for sale listed on Craigslist or Marketplace, every small block Chevy swap that's ever been done was done with the elusive Corvette motor. There it is. Now I know it looks like a truck motor with a different oil pan and exhaust manifolds, because it is. I know it makes a rip-roaring 190-something horsepower. I know that GM Corporate insisted that the Corvette can share the same motor with a Camaro Firebird or whatever, but it has to be listed as more horsepower. That's just the way it works. Corvette's always been held and sold at a higher standard. Well, my buddy had an 80 Corvette, still does, put a different motor in it, and I went over his house about a week and a half ago. This is sitting in the middle of the floor, leaking, cooling everywhere. I said, what do you do with that motor? I ended up trading a distributor for it, and I brought that home Tuesday lunchtime, and despite my best efforts, because he didn't drain the block, I've covered this. There's a block drain on either side along the pan rail. If you just take the pipe plug out, you don't blow antifreeze everywhere, but I put rags over the water pump and such. But when I got back home, guess what? My truck was full of antifreeze and dripping out the tailgate. But I couldn't pass it up, and I had one other stock engine laying around, and for a while I was doing my calculations, and I needed one nothing special engine for a project, and I might not need it anymore, but there it is. It is late production 1980, unfortunately, because the 010 block, which is the most coveted small block 350 block, was used in 1980, but this is late production, and this is the replacement for it. And I forget the number, but there's only 2 350 blocks used in 1980. And this is not the desirable one, which fulfills the legacy of most everything, every part I've ever bought, or anything I ever have. I have the odd one, the weird one, the less desirable one, and I still managed to make something out of it. So that's my small block story today, and I hope you had a great day. Hope you're staying cool. Had some crazy thunderstorms last night. Woke up, the air was a little less humid, but it's humid again now, which probably means more storms later on. Have a good one. Take it easy.